at 3, and Chris Cook probably in next, the wicketkeeper batsman. He's a dangerous operator, and we're going to have a bowling change straight away. Matt Taylor has come off, and we're going to see Ryan Higgins come on from the College Chapel end.
Just being told that was a maiden from David Payne.
29, Ryan Higgins.
Now the stream is up and running now because the press officer forgot to plug it in, but he just has plugged in. The stream is up and running now, so you can watch this if you so desire on your computer. You scroll down, and it's going to be Ryan Higgins. He's a very dangerous operator for Gloucestershire. I like the way Michael Klinger likes to switch and mix and match his bowlers around.
21 for 1, and here is Higgins' first ball from the Chapel end. The left-handed Ingram has a swish without much foot movement, and a little short arm jab attempted, but no contact and taken by James Bracey. 5 men on the offside and 4 on the on for Ingram. The 2 men out are at deep square and at orthodox third man, so he's trying to tempt him to play across the line, but Higgins, who had 5 wickets in the championship yesterday, will try and angle it across, I'm sure, right arm over the wicket. Ingram, just half off the outside of the bat there to Ian Cobain at point. That wasn't a very confident stroke.
It wasn't, but I think Higgins slowed that up quite considerable amount, actually.
This is the strip closest to the far side of the ground, the Sanford Road side of the ground, on this small 5-wicket square here at Cheltenham College. Here is Higgins in, and Ingram laces into that and powers that away past mid-off for 4, all the way along the ground up towards the College Chapel, and nothing that Klinger or any of the other straighter fielders on the offside could have done about that. Hammond just had to watch it go past him all along the floor, and Ingram is off and running. 25 for 1. Lloyd has 17.
And overpitched.
More the man out.
That's the trouble. If you've got someone as good as Ingram at the other end, there's no margin for error at all, is there, Ian?
Higgins back at the end of his run, and Ingram got a half century last night. Waits, bat raised, goes back into his crease and hits big and aerially towards the scoreboard, and it's gone past the scoreboard, and that's a big hit for 6. It's almost gone towards the sponsors' horse box just behind that advertising board. Again, not much foot movement, but it was hand and eye coordination. Was excellent, and I know it's not the longest boundary here at Cheltenham, but that was still a pretty clean hit.
Well, it was. I mean, Ingram, a bit like Chris Gale, he just depends on his eyes. There was hardly any foot movement whatsoever. He just lazily almost swung his bat, and gosh, that travelled a long, long way. He must have gone 110, 120 yards, so it landed. A bit like the golf.
In the slot, that was Higgins again to try and lay the...
It's a much better delivery, fielded by Smith and the covers.
Onto his back foot, though. Tried to push him further back into his crease by dropping his length off a little bit. And Ingram is pushing it into the offside, fielded by Smith. Ingram's got 10 hit. Klinger's back on the edge of the circle at mid-off, and they just steered into the offside, looking for a sharp single. Smith is just right on the perimeter of that 30-yard circle, so Ingram can pick up 1, and that's the conclusion of Higgins' over, an expensive one, 11 off it, I think. 32 for 1, all those 11 to Ingram, who keeps the strike. Lloyd has 17, and Lawler the man out for 1.
Yeah, I think his next throw is going to be important, because we're all going to very much depending on the power play. After the power play, you can have five fielders outside the circle, but in the power play, the first 6 overs, only 2, and he's kept, in fact, for Ingram, he has kept the third man, and there is a fielder. It's Higgins in front of us here on the balcony at the Cheltenham College ground, which is filling up nicely. The hospitality tent full. Some people still watching the cricket, but a lot actually having a free lunch, having a day off work. Who can blame them for that? As it's Taylor comes in now, bowls, and that's played nicely. A good ball from Taylor, who bowled very well yesterday against Leicestershire, and no run. Ingram just plays it back to him.
Payne, 2 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 5, being held for later, one would assume.
I would imagine he'll come back with tie, do you think, at the last 2 overs?
He might bowl in the middle actually, because
Yeah.
Payne sometimes can be expensive when bowled at the end of the innings.
Taylor bowls again, and Ingram gets hit on the pad. They go for a short, sharp single. In fact, Taylor was a little bit tardy, I'm afraid, then. He didn't react, and they scurried through. I assume that was a leg by. Was it, Julian? Yes, it was. Julian Clark, our scorer here today. As keen as ever.
Marquees are full, aren't they?
Yeah, their marquees are very full. The open stand still has some spaces, but it's a sellout. They weren't selling any tickets today. I think there may be a little bit of a shower approaching, but hope it doesn't happen. And Taylor comes in again and bowls, and that's driven straight back for a single to Lloyd. He was on to 18, the score was on to 34 for 1.
Just a reminder that Glamorgan lost the toss and were put in by Michael Klinger.
Well, that was pretty obvious, I would have thought. Michael Klinger, I spoke to him in the toss. He said, well, the weather might play a bit of a part. He said, and that often disrupts things. That was part of his raison d'etre for putting the visitors in, as Taylor comes in again and bowls to Ingram. And again, that's a good ball. All Ingram could do is pat it back to Taylor.
That was just probably a foot shorter, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Not quite in the slot for him to really free his arms and play straight over mid-on and mid-off. Just had to go half a step back into his crease. We're well placed for run-outs here because we're square on at Cheltenham, not behind the arm as we normally would be.
Here is Taylor again, bowls. And again, that's him on the pad. They go for another leg by. And this time Hammond does the fielding. No, he leaves it for Taylor. I mean, a leg by is fine, in fact. Only two extras this over. Is that right, Julian? 4 buys, 2 leg buys.
There were a lot of extras in the second innings of the Leicestershire Championship match yesterday. I mean, I know that was a long innings, but Gloucestershire have to be disciplined, particularly on the wides and no balls.
Yeah.
The buys and leg buys you can kind of accept, but
yeah,
must be disciplined without the wides and no balls.
Lloyd on 18, and that's a very good stop by Taylor off his own bowling. They get a single. But I tell you what, if Taylor hadn't have flung himself and at least taken some of the pace off the ball, that was going to be a 4 all the way. That's a good over that from Tayller. 36 for 1, 5 over gone.
Only 4 off Matt Taylor's second over. Michael Klinger, he's now going to turn to Andrew Tye.
He's big, isn't he, Tye?
From the Chapel end. I think there was a couple of games last season where we got through the power play and Klinger had used 6 different bowlers, each with having bowled 1 over.
Yes.
Not afraid to mix it up and keep the batsmen on their toes.
Well, I remember he played Tom Smith as an opening bowler once.
So here's Tye, 36 for 1, last over of the power play, to bowl to Lloyd right arm over the wicket, and it's straight down the ground and a good stop at mid-off by Higgins. They'll get 1, but that's all. It was timed well enough that there was a comfortable single, but equally Higgins had to dive to his right to prevent it going all the way to the rope. So,
well, you can't have any passengers in the field, can you, in these 2020? Look, Hammond is swapping with Smith.
Smith going now to a square cover. Still the deep square leg and the third man out for Tye. Very upright approach to the wicket. Bowls, and that's clipped in the end. Now is that going to be over the rope? Yes, it is. There's a man on the rope, but nothing that Jack Taylor could do about that. That's gone into the marquees from Colin Ingram. 6 more, and he's into his stride early here in this Glamorgan innings. Even with a man on the rope, and even another 10 yards back, that probably would have still cleared the field comfortably. 43 for 1. Ingram has 17 already.
Well, I tell you what, the light is pretty poor here. I can't understand how he picked that up.
Well, Ingram waits once more for Tye, right on over the wicket, and that's again in the air. Now, whose is that? Tom Smith's underneath it. Tom Smith steadies himself and takes the catch. Ingram goes. Tye gets his wicket. Smith gets a big hug from Ian Cobain. They're horrible to wait underneath those, but Smith made sure he kept his eyes on the ball, steadied himself and judged it well. Ingram goes for 17. Looks a bit rueful, having got 2 sixes already, but Glamorgan critically second man out, and Gloucestershire with their second wicket in the power play.
Well, I tell you, that was a very good catch by Tom Smith. He had a little discussion because Cobain could have gone for it as well. Smith claimed responsibility, and the ball was in there a long time. I bet his heart was jumping all over the place when the ball fell into his outstretched arms. 43 for 2.
Now,
a very good wicket to get.
Interestingly, I was expecting Chris Cook to come in next, but they've sent Billy Root in, Joe's brother, at number 4. Obviously, joined Glamorgan this season.
He's done very well for them.
Played an awful lot of T20, but I suppose you're coming in when he is here with 14 overs to go. He's got a little bit of time to play himself in, but at the moment he's not facing because the batsman crossed. So here is Lloyd once more, chopping that into the offside. That'll be a simple single, as gathered by Cobain. 99th career T20 appearance for Ian Cobain today, and he will hope to make his 100th in his testimonial year here next Thursday, when Gloucestershire, of course, play Middlesex.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
44 for 2.
Middlesex are a very, very strong T20 side.
A.B. de Villiers.
Ian Morgan. Sterling.
44 for 2. The left-handed Root keeps the right-left-hand combination going. Or could be outside the off stump, but Root couldn't lay a bat on it. I just wondered whether umpire Russell Warren might have stretched his arms and looked towards the scorers to our right, but he didn't. But he does look up at the sky above, because, as Bob said, it is quite gloomy.
I don't think they'll be playing county championship in this night. A little bit of rain is just starting to fall. I think there'll be a short, sharp shower.
In the a little bit of drizzle. Ty Chappell behind him comes in and bowls, and Root has a really big cover drive at that, but again doesn't get a touch. A good first over from Andrew Ty. He does concede 8, but 44 for 2 in the power play with Ingram out. Gloucestershire will be pretty happy with that.
I think it certainly would be. The umpires aren't conferring. There is a little bit of movement in the open stand. That is the end of the first power play. Now you can have 5 fielders, which really does change things for Gloucestershire and Michael Klinger. Now he's got Ryan Higgins. No, it's Benny Howell coming in from the College Lawn end.
And Bracey has called for the helmet rather than the cap, and he's going to stand up.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good move. That's a good move. I mean, Bracey is a competent keeper. He has got a bit of support behind him. Benny Howell, well, he loves bowling in the IPL. Here he comes. He holds the ball. You can't see what the batsman's going to do with it. And in the air, that's going to be caught by who's going to catch it? David Payne catches it. Whoa! First ball, Benny Howell, wicket. Can't ask for anything more than that. Lloyd has gone. It's a 44 for 3.
It's a good point. It's a good point about Howell holding the ball in both hands, so you can't see whether it's a scrambled seam or a straight seam or a knuckleball. And played a bit early at that, and it's skewed up to short third man. Payne underneath it. All 3 chances safely taken by the Gloucestershire fielders at the moment when Glamorgan have gone aerial. And 44 for 3 brings in Owen Morgan.
Yeah, not the Owen Morgan.
Not the Owen Morgan. This is O-W-E-N Morgan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, Ian, because all 3 chances were steepled catches, weren't they? That's what they practiced day in, day out. And they were pouched very successfully. One by Andrew Ty, the second one by Tom Smith, and the third just then by David Payne.
And again, the batsmen have crossed, so Morgan won't be facing. There are some umbrellas up in the stand on the far side.
Don't blame them.
It is drizzling, but it's not very heavy.
No, they're thinking about coming off.
They are coming off, I think.
Yes, they are coming off.
Nick Cook's had enough, and
they need the covers on very quickly.
They will.
The summer holidays playing. That's not quite the tune I think you want to play. Now here come the covers. They've got to get the covers on quickly because it's only a little steady drizzle at the moment. I don't think it's going to be delayed for long. But they don't get this pitch very wet, so we'll just carry on chatting for a couple of minutes, I think, because I don't think it's going to last too long.
Now, just give you the Morgan card then. Lloyd caught by Payne off Howell off the last ball before the umpires decided that it was too wet to continue. He made 21 from 20 balls with 4 fours. Lawler was first out, caught by Ty off Payne at mid-on without scoring, and then Ingram, who cleared the rope twice with 2 really clean strikes, both off Ryan Higgins. He was caught by Smith off Ty for 17 from 12 balls. Payne 2 overs 1 made 1 for 5, very good in the power play. Taylor 2 overs for 14, Ryan Higgins 1 over for 11, Andrew Tye 1 over 1 for 8, and Howell obviously impeccable figures, 1 for none off one ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think this rain's going to carry on too long. I'll wait to the left-hand side over the Cleve Head, right out there. I don't think they'll be off for more than a few minutes. They have an hour extra to play for, so they can carry on till 6:30 tonight. But I just think this is a little tiny break. In fact, the rain is almost abating now, and the light is getting better. They are bringing on an extra sheet, I think, to worry about the bowlers' run-ups. It is very dark. I just think they couldn't have carried on playing. I think Noy was a little upset because it was very dark when he bowled that ball.
You wonder whether the umpires might have said, that they wouldn't actually start that over, but they did, and that's much to Gloucestershire's credit. But Michael Klinger has often spoken about how you get through the power play, particularly if you lose wickets in the power play, how influential that is going forward. So for Gloucestershire to get 2 and then get a bonus wicket really off the last ball before the play was
ball after the power play, wasn't it?
Well, the last ball before play was temporarily halted.
Oh yes.
Was very much in their favour. 44 for 3 as Glamorgan have gone off. And in fact, you may remember, Bob, Gloucestershire played a T20 game at Glamorgan where they took a wicket off the last ball that was of the match that was actually allowed before the rain came in, and that wicket tipped the Duckworth-Lewis Gloucestershire's way, so that they actually won the match. If they'd have gone off one ball earlier, Glamorgan would have won.
Right, that was the one that finished about 11 o'clock at night, wasn't it?
and that's how tight it can be in this tournament. But overall, you have to say that this is the first game of 14 over the next 6 weeks. It is a punishing schedule. Gloucestershire would not have the biggest squad, and they will hope that everybody can stay fit, and they can just, if they need to rotate it at all, it'll probably be the bowlers.
Yeah. Well, Chris Little is here. He could be consulted. Chad Sayers, well, he's an overseas player. They'd have to leave out Tye or Klinger if it was to play. Their bowling department is a little bit, I would say it's a little bit lacking, I would say. I mean, they've got Ethan Bamber on loan. Chad says, the overseas player, he can't really bowl. Now the rain is coming down a little bit heavier. I think this is going to be quite a delay, actually. It's not actually hammering it down. It's just a very steady, heavy drizzle. So I just think, let's just carry on a little bit. It is coming down. It's not pouring down by any means. They'll be playing at North Nibley. In this, no trouble.
I'm sure you would, but then you'd probably play it in the dark at North Nibley. Here at Cheltenham, we're temporarily off for rain. 44 for 3 Glamorgan, having been put into bat by Michael Klinger. Wickets to Howell, Payne and Tye, 2 of them in the power play and 1 in the only ball that we've had since the power play ended. 6.1 overs had been bowled when the umpires decided that they would temporarily go off, but it just gives us a chance just to reflect a little bit on what happened here in the Championship yesterday. So many people I spoke to at tea yesterday said that last session was Gloucestershire's Championship season in a nutshell. If they hadn't forced a win, it would have been very difficult for them to get into the promotion picture from there.
Well, they just bowled. I think the game changed, in fact, when what's his name, the lone lad, I can never remember his name, Boomer.
Ethan Bamber.
Ethan Bamber got rid of the Indian opening batsman. The first ball after tea, and that I thought was the game changer. It really was, because he was quite capable of staying there all day, and that changed the game, and that gave Gloucestershire a lot of impetus. And then I tell you what, if it had been, it was 48 runs in 8. If it had been 48 runs in 6 or 5, they could have been struggling. They just needed 6 and over, and they got caught in the middle. Of course they did. There were 5 dot balls on the trot in the middle of that. But then I think it changed when Ryan Higgins hit that straight 6, the penultimate ball of the over before, and then 9 of the last over. They should get it. And Gareth Rodgett sealed it with a 6 on the offside. I asked him, I said, I don't remember you ever scoring a 6 on the offside. And he said, well, I just hit it. The rain has stopped. It's almost stopped, you're pleased to know, and the light is getting better, so they shouldn't be out. They should be out pretty quick. It'll probably take about 5 minutes or so to clear the covers.
I just put one more thing to you about,
Yes.
that session after tea yesterday. There was a point at which Parkinson and Swindells had batted for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, longer, 55 in fact.
And if they'd have gone on even a couple of overs more, you wonder whether the captains might have thought about shaking hands, because the equation of Gloucestershire getting those last 4 wickets and the number of overs and the runs was just tipping against them. But the point was that Leicestershire were not scoring to push the target up. And when the first of those wickets fell, 3 fell in 16 balls, and suddenly you felt the door was open then.
Right, and the rain is actually very heavy now. I said for a time it's going to get it had beginning to stop. In fact, it did stop for some time, but I think we're in for a bit of a really heavy shower. So I suggest, Ian, we might go back to programmes from BBC Bristol if they're ready to accept us.
I will just check with studio.
Of course you should. So here we are. The score is. Well, thank you for the umbrella. It's a very, very pleasant umbrella from Paul Furley. He's putting over Ian's laptop. Why not put it over the ISDN kit? It's from a well-known builder's merchant. So here, let me remind you, Gloucestershire won the toss at the Cheltenham College ground, and unsurprisingly, they put in Glamorgan to bat, and it's a bit of a poor start for Glamorgan. They are 44 for 3, and 1 ball has been bowled from the 7th over. Let me give you the bowling figures. David Payne, well bowled him. 2 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 5. Taylor, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 14. Higgins, 1 over, 0 for 11. Ty, 1 over, 1 for 8. And good old Benny Howell, 1 ball, 1 wicket. He hasn't even got an average. The rain is just coming down. I think there's going to be a bit of a delay here.
There could be a delay now, but I'll go back. We've spoken about yesterday.
Absolutely.
You said Gloucestershire have got a well-balanced side, and I said that the South group has not done well in terms of getting to finals. Do you think that, having got to the quarter-finals last year, a little bit under the radar possibly, then been beaten at Worcester, Gloucestershire's first base would be to say, right, can we at least get
to the quarters?
Get to the quarters again, because I think in some instances they are still an unheralded team. They do not have the top stars, the expensively assembled stars that some teams pull together.
No, I think Michael Klinger, I think he genuinely likes Gloucestershire, and I don't think he had to be seduced by too much to come back for possibly his last season, acting as batting coach as well. Andrew Ty, well, his record speaks volumes, doesn't it? And they've got, as you say, Jack Taylor, Benny Howell, Ryan Higgins in the middle, and any one of them is quite capable of destroying any attack at any one time. They're unlike most counties. Some counties have 1 all-rounder, don't they? They've got 3. And they can bat and bowl a bit as well. Taylor's developing his leg spin, and I think they're absolutely quite capable of destroying any county. Any one of them can at any one time. If one fails, or someone else backs them up.
So here on BBC Radio Bristol DAB and also on BBC Sport Online, there is no play currently at the Cheltenham Festival because of rain. The players went off with Glamorgan 44 for 3 in the 7th over, and the covers are on.
Light's better though, and it is stopping raining.
Not only the square has been covered, but also the pitches that they use for the nets pre-match have also been covered as well, because they are used extensively by the college here at Cheltenham.
They're broken up.
Pitches that they use for the county matches are only used for the county matches in the whole summer. So we'll leave you temporarily here at Cheltenham and return you to BBC Radio Bristol's main output with Richard Lewis with the news that it's 44 for 3 Glamorgan in the 7th over after they were put into bat, a wicket each for Howell, Payne and Ty, but the players are currently off with rain falling.
Well played. Oh, I think it'll be about 20 minutes delay, I think. Sorry.
What's that? So the web will still be dialed up, so just...
What's that?
Rory T, back as King Song, skills coach. So, as well as, I think. I'll start about 15 minutes ago. He's skills coach, Timmy Taylor still, backs and attack coach. Football probably might prove somewhat useful. Yes.
It'll take a while to take them off now, presumably. So, what time did we come out of about 5 to?
I've done a DRB check.
I think they'll come on again in about 15 minutes. They've got an hour extra to play with.
Although it doesn't get dark until 9:30.
6:30.
Fancy still being here then?
6:30 is the cut-off point.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't speaking with Lucky there, so literally he would himself eventually goes.
I think that's what's doing. It's slightly loose.
You still have someone with the skills to do that.
An orange. Would you like an orange? I like orange. What's your favourite fruit? Favourite fruit? No, it's a bit boring, I always think. One banana okay, 2 bananas not good.
I only eat one, maximum of one a day.
Do you?
I don't eat one every day.
Well, bananas are full of potassium, you know.
Don't talk to Ian about overdosing on potassium in bananas.
No, you shouldn't.
You're in, you always eat banana slowly. With a knife.
Well, I've got good news. I was the doctor this morning, and she said your blood's going down because of my diet, and I've lost 6 pounds in a week. So well done,
Have you
Bob.
listened to Colin's tips or something?
6 pounds in a week.
Your dentist. When you went to Chelmsford, you lost 7 pounds more.
I know I did. I put on 5. That's true, actually. Yes.
My dentist emailed me about my dentist emailed me about 3 hours before the appointment.
Did they?
So I said, try 10 pounds then.
What did they say? No.
Because you cancelled it. No, yeah, that's right. He said no. I said, well, no. Yeah, I thought it was worth trying. You know, both ways.
How much do they charge you if you cancel them within 24 hours?
£10. That's where I said, I tried to cancel 3 hours before it's due.
Did they give a reason?
It's only said, yeah, the hygiene stuff goes up still.
Right.
That's, I only said it's only cheap. It's shocked, they said yes.
Now we'll start again in a minute. In a minute?
That will be up there with your best predictions, Bob, if that one came true.
I was good yesterday.
You might be back on it.
It's 6!
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
You might be back on at North Nibley in a minute, but
Sorry? Yeah. I can prove it to you as well. I've got the
Did I say that?
Yeah, they stuck it out on Twitter, didn't they? Where are we?
Well, I tell you what, Paul Furley, Bristol were cross.
Bristol were cross.
Well, Mike Brisnowskin said that I was too excited at the end. And I said, well, no, people didn't say that, said it was good. And I thought Gloucester would have they don't mind that sort of rubbish.
Fortunately, Richard Ray actually gave the detail and you were just celebrating.
Well, that was right.
Absolutely. There we go, Bob. I'm sure I've stuck it out on Twitter for you.
Go on now.
Complete with the picture.
I was sitting in the car, I
No, I was right. I got it right. I said it's going to be out cold. 6. I thought it was going to be out cold. What doesn't matter, does it? As long as you've got what happens. As we all know, Bob, nothing's actually happened with you unless you say it twice.
Oh, God.
basically gripping myself.
Yeah, so it's a goal. It's a goal. It's in. It's in.
It's got to sit twice.
I've never said
That's like.
Links between radio and online.
I was excited.
Love the emotion. A bit more detail would be appreciated as well.
That's a good thing.
He was moaning about I didn't say where the 6 went. I couldn't have done where the 6 went at that moment.
I can't tell you so how it's best to get out through about down the 20.
No, come on, boys.
Yeah, I'm always like,
Like to
we'll start again.
There's a cabin roll still. No, I went downstairs and get it. So I you might not. Yeah, years ago. Yeah, I mean, you guys do whenever something's pertinent. It's overseas players. Anything to do with internationals, which you should do anyway. As well as if you're doing anything. Well, the issue is not to be repeated. That basically last few years we've done some
Get to the ground as well. Properly.
generally that's just around that's all the game, 2 minutes of individual match ball in each T20 game. But is it its own individual match? They should be doing that.
Yeah, they do.
Is this reinforcements for the live? So
I noticed that the other game. So last night I contained 2 parts more
program.
And also, they're live dating specialists. They get you to
Well, on Radio Gloucestershire.
As in football match programs. Yeah.
There is a way around it.
He's taken 400 books to Oxford Science. He's been banned from taking any more.
It's on its own. If BBC, what is it, Leicestershire, what have you, then they should be entitled to
Well, all
it,
his
isn't it?
programmes, he's selling them. He's giving his programmes away.
So he's taken 400 books to Oxford, which I suspect is the tip of the iceberg. And he's got somewhere between 10,000 and 15,000.
Nick's it very much the same.
Filter up.
Well, I can't see the point of that, really.
How do you stand that?
I can see we got some good programs, but
Like every swimming program teachable or Powerplay. I bet Matthew's got that one. Well, next time he's up here on the Bogey, you better check with him just in case the game's up in Oxford.
wasn't that an away game somewhere? Was that
Northampton
What do you do there,
47-48 season.
They just get the...
Not every home, every one. Not every home program. Every home one. Just one away. That is so. It just never turns up on the
we better warn down, they might start soon.
No, we've texted.
I know they say they don't have
Texted when they are
literally.
You texted me. I have actually.
It's not as if you've got an extra person there.
Is the connection in your head worthless being one short?
I thought you put this
Right.
that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for your patience. Good news is that the covers are starting to come off here at the College Ground in Cheltenham. So the Fergal O'Brien Cheltenham Cricket Festival should resume very shortly, we hope. Just to confirm as well that we do have an hour to play with today. So that, of course, when the players came off, to the time that hopefully we resume by 3:55, we won't lose any overs. So as things stand, it remains a 20-over-a-side game. We won't lose any overs up until 3:55 p.m. We'll keep you updated with any further progress. Thank you.
increased. As the game went on, you increased the number of people you were thanking. The umpires, scorers.
There is a score. There's actually a score in the box right here as well.
Yeah. I thought you were going to thank everyone up here at one time. Thank Richard Ray and Ray this
The option to stop the programs.
I got check out there.
Something southern. Within a year, the Southern League bring it. The Football League give the option as well.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
The one that was.
Cheltenham's first game of the season is away, so it must be a tester.
Mighty Dragons.
Something comes very well. Yeah.
Pictures of the opposition,
An email.
note from the manager, maybe a note from the chair.
Just noticed that in Gloucestershire against Surrey.
And you know, a couple of adverts for Fred's Tires. You know, what more do you need? Yeah. Oh, yeah, stats page as well.
I'm going to stay at Surrey. Usually Surrey to me.
The only time I couldn't do
And use on more signings.
Cheltenham's really
And also BJ, I can't be too excited about that. That's the part that everyone's like, it's great, but is it really? It's probably better than we have.
Yeah. Careful where you dismantle.
You know, that might get you an away win at Treviso.
I don't want to tip it on some tip the ball on
That might
something.
get you an away win.
I can sort of do it on a gap so it doesn't soak your laptop. They might have got your bag and everything, but
Which one you talking about? Yeah, I'd go. No, well, unless he wants to do the double, T20 next year. Yeah. Arguably, he's not the best of 8 teams.
You know, a little window here, about half an hour.
Talk to Tom Banton now, should they?
A window, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, good. After you the match with semis.
sorry? I mean, he's got every Cheltenham Town programme.
Do you keep all your programs, Brandon?
Sorry?
Do you keep all your programs?
Yeah. 20 years minus 1 season.
The thing is, I only keep from games on the club because the Pete's got loads from games he hasn't.
Losing 200 Rochdales.
I can't see the point of that, but
Oh yeah, it was alright.
we got a very rare program. We got a program after the United Air crash.
No, that's
United then we've got the team.
yeah, that's very. Some people pay a lot of money for that.
I know. I'm keeping it.
Let me guess, you want it in a silent auction, did you?
No, my brother got it.
Yeah, he did, yeah. He did. I think he said that when they went from 65 runners to 50 as well.
It's whether I've got it or not, but if I have, I know it's a reproduction. I'm not claiming it, but I'm original.
30 overs in a day, we'd have to start at 10 and we'd finish about 8. It's always funny when Jane was there and there is not one journalist who likes the 100 and Jane was like, oh, I think quite idea of the year. Then, I like it 96 seats the media said there were 3 people in it. good cakes yesterday, weren't they? The chocolate brownie with the added chocolate, different chocolate on the outside was an absolute dream. I wish I found those. Why?
They'll need to rope the outfit, I think, don't you?
Probably. Course to 4-star. Something like that.
Well, at the moment we haven't lost any euros. The only time I've ever seen it back by was when we got rid of the Glamorgan's got out, but we lost. Even if it was just off ball, it would have played. But wasn't he bowled by the Sri Lankan? Pereira, Gloucestershire, showed literally all he needed to do, don't get out. Don't get out.
It's just a long campaign.
That was a couple of years ago.
That was when Champions Ministers in 6 weeks at Gloucestershire.
The one at the Chelsea, 2.
One at Derby, isn't it?
Derby.
I like Derby, it's a good place to go.
No. I remember nearly clean. Oh, no, never bad. We had. He wasn't back in the quarterfinal. He didn't back in the quarterfinal. Yeah. He didn't back in the quarterfinal. Rained off in 2, and then was going to make his way to middle when he was rained off against Gloucestershire.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not in the old box. Change it.
Paul, I've got the old ISDN lead here.
Have you? Excellent.
I haven't undone it yet. It doesn't work.
As in, that's the one I gave you.
Yeah. I carried it around. No, I carried it around.
If it doesn't work, there's no point in having it.
Well, I did work once at Forest Green, then it went off again.
Downstairs.
So I'll keep it just in case of emergencies.
Okay.
I haven't got. Well, just discovered we haven't got a headset. We haven't got the Glamorgans because mine's in Kevin Hand's car.
Right, well that's coming back next week.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. Well, you can cope against Gloucestershire, can't you?
Of course we can.
Right, so we're professionals. Excellent. Roger can't work out what's wrong with your power pack except that it doesn't work. Because I think
I've had it
obviously
for
broken.
ages. I've had this kit with me for about 15 years.
I think there's a hint of Trigger's broom about that, Bob. You've had an ISDN kit with you for about 15 years.
No, this one. I've never ever changed it. I meant.
Well, certainly got changed. One got changed when you soaked one in coffee.
Oh, that's right, yeah. It wasn't my fault.
You cleaned it, I cleaned it better, and then Ian Rogers opened it up and said, do you want to tell me something about that kit involving a cup of coffee? Yeah, but yeah, because I opened it up and just reeked of coffee to where the coffee
Well, that
got
was because
inside.
the coffee just went down. It wasn't my fault. As always.
Bob Hunt is innocent, is he?
Correct.
Reasonably.
That wasn't my fault.
No, you weren't there, it was at Forest Green, Judy.
No, it wasn't. It was at Forest Green. The coffee, somebody behind knocked the coffee onto the ISDN kit.
Basically, the desk space at Forest Green is so small
terrible.
that you can't actually fit in. Especially if
They
you
said they were
bob
going to make
like
it
that.
bigger in the closes, and they haven't.
So he puts the ISDN on the floor. And of course, commentators in the row behind, if they kick their cup of coffee over, or Bob's cup of coffee over, then coffee and ISDN cubies don't mix. Back row's even smaller than the row
I
in
learned
front.
that
Yes.
day.
And as it is, it sits sort of side saddle on the end of the row, so that its feet don't bash against the desk. Ian, would you describe the Forest Green press box as a tight squeeze? Right, okay.
Not as tight as the old Chesterfield, but
No, that was tight.
it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's very tight.
Saltgate is tight. But, yeah. Well, some of Randall's proportions described somewhere as a continuous squeeze.
It is very tight.
Yeah. If you're carrying excess baggage,
I put a watch on the desk and fell down during the third half. I can't see that again.
Yeah.
I think I've been in the press box at Swindon. I remember when
Swindon's alright. Sort of hits around the press box at the back of the North Stand in the late 80s. I remember Roger Maloney for an FA Cup game against someone.
I could have got a couple of coffees in.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Now it's going to get those characters.
I was Swindon sort of around the 87-88 season.
Oh yeah, well it's 77.
You looked a bit. There's a few recustomizing yourself to the rhythms of faster pace. I've never done the match presentation stuff. I bought last year obviously the other thing prior. So I'm doing the sort of show calling stuff. I've never done it before. So. Lights, camera, action. The guy who's doing the match presenter said, "I'll meet us by the big screen by the groundsman's shed." He went to the other big screen and couldn't get a hold of it. I was in charge of across the pitch. So we could do the bowl up.
Is that coming to us?
Cue ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, great news from the middle. The ground staff have worked very hard. The rain has stopped, and we should resume this Vitality Blast match at 20-4. So 20-4 in around 10 minutes' time, and confirmation that we haven't lost any overs. It remains a 20 over per side match, and Glamorgan will resume on 44 for 3 in the 7th. So play getting back underway at 20-4.
When it will start raining again.
Just if you're listening on the BBC Sport website, news from here at Cheltenham College, where the Gloucestershire Glamorgan match in the T20 Blast was interrupted by rain. We were going to start again at 3:40, so in about 10 minutes' time we'll resume at 3:40. No overs lost because we're still well within the allotted extra hour that is permitted in these 20 over matches that are afternoon games. Glamorgan will resume on 44 for 3 in the 7th over. So we'll start again here at 3:40 in about 10 minutes' time. Glamorgan having been put into bat by Gloucestershire here at Cheltenham. We restart then at 20-4.
Come on, we get a Cup of coffee. Does anyone else want a cup of coffee? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Don't spill it over your kit, Rob.
No, is that mine, June, or yours? That's yours. And I'm alright, sir. I'll be asked to go and get a cup of coffee. There'll be a queue. There'll be a queue. I won't queue up. Oh.
John Trollope.
That's John Trollope. That's at Swindon, isn't it?
That's catch ground.
Is this the Kenny Stroud game? Yeah.
It's going to lever it. Just throwing at the time.
The ironic thing is, 3 years later, Swindon played Tottenham in the Cup. And he had a shot from all the base grass. Then just got across and threw it over the bar.
Oh, he ain't. I've got his testimonial brochure.
The button. That was been 1-0. That was 0-0. That was right in the last minute. Oh yeah. The only difference.
The brown wrap.
You need to go and talk to Rob, who's up there in the dark jacket. So beyond the guy in the red, the first guy beyond you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Dan, hello. Sorry, my mic was off. Because we're still on the web, you see. No, that's fine. That's fine. I was just so conscious about the web, that was all. Okay, cheers. Yep, cheers.
Wait with us.
Hop to you in a second.
Okay.
I'm having to do the card and stuff.
All right. Okay.
Please welcome back out into the middle our umpires, Nick Cook and Russell Warren, followed by Michael Klinger and his Gloucestershire side. The Glamorgan batsman Owen Morgan and Billy Root.
Welcome back to BBC Sport Online, live from Cheltenham. We've had a 25-minute delay.
Yes, it's a good start for Glamorgan. Glamorgan 3 wickets down, Ian Randall.
Yes, 3 wickets down, and with one of their really dangerous batsmen in the top order, Colin Ingram, out to a very well judged catch, it must be said. Gloucestershire have taken 3 very good catches at Ty, Smith and Payne in particular, and Benny Howell took a wicket off the last ball before the rain intervened. We're still going to play 20 overs aside, by the way. Is going to resume the 7th over, bowling to the left-handed Billy Root.
And both batsmen on naught as Billy Root faces Morgan. It's a lovely bit of fielding. Oh, it's a tremendous field of fielding back. Oh, that is brilliant from Michael Klinger. That is absolutely an astounding bit of fielding. The old boy does it.
39 he may be.
39.
And maybe Billy Root thought that actually there's a comfortable single there to Klinger, but he is sharp in the field. It wasn't a straightforward pick-up at all. He had to move to his right, dive to stop the ball, and then throw it in. And Root obviously wasn't going to the danger end, but that's a wicket given away by Glamorgan, really.
I've got to say though, Ian, we're right opposite. It looked a pretty close call.
Well, Russell Warren had no doubt the umpire, and out.
He's the man. He's the
goes
man.
The fourth. So it's 2 wickets in 2 balls. The one, of course, obviously not down to Benny Howell, but Glamorgan 44 for 4.
Well, you can say
Morgan run out without scoring.
Well, I do remember one great bit of commentary back when George Easton played for Stoke in the League Cup, and the old man has done it. Well, that was a superb bit of fielding from Michael Klinger. He got it, he had to dive to his right, he got up and threw it in one movement, and it was a good throw. Basically had to do something to demolish the stumps, but never mind, that was absolutely marvellous stuff. Marvellous.
So Cook in at number 6.
Yeah, vintage. He's a good player, Cook. He's been all round the Glamorgan batting order. Now comes the bowls to him again. 2 wickets in 2 balls. Bowls to Cook. And Cook puts one out. Oh, poor old Miles Hammond slips over. And I don't think they quite made that a bit dry, actually. It's an old pitch. It's very short grass. And Hammond falls on his backside. But there isn't a single.
I hope that's not the strip they're going to be using next week for the Worcestershire match. Ground staff could have a bit of a recovery job to do on that. 44 for 4 in the 7th, Glamorgan.
Yeah, brilliant start from Gloucestershire in this campaign as Howell holds the ball. The batsman can't see what he's doing, and he just plays it back, and Howell bends down to pick it up. I mean, Glamorgan really have got to do a sort of reconstruction job here, haven't they? They are in trouble.
Just in terms of who's to come, Dan Douthwaite, Graham Wagg, both those two
Graham Wagg come back, yeah.
Andrew Salter, Martin DeLanger, Michael Hogan. I mean, there's a little bit of batting left, but these two will want to bat for at least 10 overs if they can.
They should do, because they're in real trouble. As Howell comes in again and bowls. Oh, and he gets fortuitous runs, and it's going to be fielded by David Payne. A snick where possibly second slip could have possibly been, but they don't have slips in this competition. And it goes for 1 run. Cook is off the mark. Root is rooted to the spot. He has number 66 on his back, as has his brother Joe, of course. Root 66, get it?
Morgan might have a word with him about the call for that single when they
yes, I think he
at the end of the innings.
He might have a stern admonishment as Howell comes in and bowls to Root, and Root drives and he gets the single. No, they don't, because the ball has gone to Tom Smith. Now, I tell you what, Ian, that bit of fielding from Michael Klinger, when he gets on of that, it puts the EBGBs on the batting side a bit, doesn't it? You think, well, I'm not going to take a single there because they're a good fielding side.
You remember, I think it was last, might have been the year before actually, Michael Klinger took 3 catches in a game at Canterbury.
I do remember it, yeah.
And a floodlit game which Gloucestershire won, a tight match.
Yeah.
And yes, he is 39. He's not going to be on the boundary or doing long boundary runs, but in short, 20 or 30 yards from the pitch, Michael Klinger is still a safe pair of hands and a good tactician. So another bowling change, and David Payne coming back.
It's the Fairford show. Don't worry about the planes. It's the Fairford tattoos on this weekend.
I say Payne.
It is Payne, I think. No, is it? Or is it Taylor? I think it's Taylor coming on left arm.
It is Taylor from the Chapel end.
Yep.
45 for 4 after 7. And
they've got a slip in now.
Chris Cook and Billy Root are the not out batsmen. And Matt Taylor back in the attack to bowl to the right-handed Cook, who just drops his bat on that, pushes it into the offside, and on the bounce it's taken by Ian Cobain. So Lloyd for 21, Lawler without scoring, Ingram for 17, and then Morgan run out for naught without facing a ball.
Didn't face a ball, no.
aeroplanes fly overhead. Matt Taylor in again, almost a Yorker length ball, which is just dug out by Cook,
They're about
and
to be
they'll
bombed.
take one. And that's all there will be. Some good backing up from Andrew Tye.
I heard that plan, I didn't see it.
No, we have. We're fortunate here on the balcony at Cheltenham College that we do have effectively a marquee cover over our commentary position. We are side on to the wicket, just about in line with the crease at the non-striker's end. If you're bowling from the chapel end, which Matt Taylor is, left arm over the wicket, comes in and bowls. That's punched comfortably out to the point boundary where Higgins is almost on the rope. They'll take one, and it'll be a comfortable single. Root goes to 2. Root's off the mark, I should say. Cook has 2, and Glamorgan 47 for 4 in the 8th. Gloucestershire's out cricket needs to be at this kind of standard if they're going to be competitive in this competition. They've had a bristling kind of start. Taylor in again, dropped into the ground by Cook, straight to Cobain at point. So the men out on the boundary. He's got an orthodox third man and a fine leg. He's got a deep cover on the boundary. He's got a mid-wicket on the boundary. Only 4 men actually out. He doesn't have a long on or long off out. Mid-off and mid-on are orthodox positions. And Matt Taylor will be trying to giving Cook nothing to drive at here. That's again reasonable length, but that will go past Andrew Tye. He's on the turn. They've taken 2, and they might try one on the throw, but Tye's return is on its way, and they won't gamble a third to the Australian, and 2 more to the Glamorgan total, 49 for 4.
Tye couldn't really get going on that, could he? Really, he's a big man, and the ball went past him before he elicited a run.
He's also fielding in those areas where those warm-up wickets have just got a bit damp after the rain, so you wouldn't have wanted to turn and slip. Taylor quickly back to his mark once more, and left arm over the wicket bowls, and that's punched back down the pitch. So it might be just one there. That's well timed by Cook. He's just pushed it into an area where Taylor couldn't get it, Klinger couldn't get it, and they've brought the Glamorgan 50 up from 8 overs. 8 overs gone, 50 on the board. That's decent enough scoring rate, but they've lost 4 wickets, and that's where Gloucestershire have made real headway in these first 8 overs.
Yeah, these two have got to be separated. Cook and Root together. Root he's had a very good season with Glamorgan. Obviously the brother of Joe, and he's a very energetic cricketer. And Cook's been around a long time. The Glamorgan captain in the championship. Now Brace is standing up to Benny Howell. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's going to be Cook who's on 5. 50 for 4 they are, Glamorgan, after 8 overs. So it's not going to be a huge score as Howell comes in and bowls to Cook, and Cook just turns that down to third man. David Payne will keep it down to 2, you would think. Yes, he does. It's a good bit of fielding. A flat throw comes in, and he had a lot of ground to cover then down at third man, did David Payne. A long leg it was.
I think these two, dare I say it, might just try and rotate the strike with some singles and twos for 3 or 4 overs.
Well, that would have been surely in Gloucestershire's favour, as Howell again covers the ball with his hands, driven, and that's again half stopped by Michael Klinger, and the covering fielding is done by Ryan Higgins. Klinger's quite content to throw himself around.
He's been in the country for about a fortnight, Michael Klinger.
He played at Rockhampton in midweek. He got a 42, I think he did, Somerset seconds.
Let's bear in mind that he's in the closed season in Australia at the moment, so he came over, and apparently I'll come back to this after this ball.
Howell around the wicket. That's a Root. Goes to reverse something or other. I don't know if he made any contact with it. He gets a run. Did he get a bat on it? No, it's a leg by. He tried to reverse it, hit him on the pad, and David Payne comes in from what would be long leg and makes the throw.
So Klinger, he's playing halfway around the world, and on the day he lands, he's in at the Bristol County ground with his pads, wanting to have a net.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the man he is. As Howell goes around the wicket again, and that's flicked away. That's going to be 4 runs. That's going to be a good shot, actually. That was a good shot. That was very well constructed by Cook. He saw where the gap was, and he's on the leg side. It helped it on its way. There's a gap between square leg and long leg, and he just bisected it perfectly. 4 runs.
Yeah, Howell's gone back to the Howell going back to over the wicket.
Yeah, he is now. Goes to Cook, who's on 11, 58 for 4. And that's a very good drive, and it just evades Tom Smith. He laced it through the covers. It was over pitch from Benny Howell. And 62 for 4 now. They've got to be careful, Gloucestershire, because although they've got the wickets, these two are quite capable of doing some damage. It's an orthodox field in T20. Klinger is standing quite a long way back on the edge of the circle. Cobain is backward point. There's a gap in the covers which is marshalled by Higgins on the boundary, and Tom Smith gets his rag out to rub the ball clean. And the 9th over here at Cheltenham. The clouds are gathering again. There might be another bit of a break for play as Howell goes this time over the wicket, bowls, and that's he's played onto his stumps. I'm sure he touched that. It was a played on, and Cook has gone for 16. Well, I don't think the ball, it was a full length delivery, and it got Cook in all sorts of trouble, and in the end he just jabbed it onto his stumps. The 5th wicket has fallen, and really that's good bowling from Benny Howell.
Yeah, he was bowling round the wicket to the right-hander earlier in the over, having gone back to over the wicket. Cook just tried to play the dab shot that brought him 2 runs off Howell in his last over. It was just a bit tucked up. He had no room. The ball was a bit too close to him, and as you say, chopped as a big bottom edge, and he slaps his right pad as he comes off. But second wicket for Benny Howell, and Glamorgan 62 for 5 after 9 overs, and Gloucestershire should with Dan Douthwaite coming in at number 7, should be able to dictate the game from this position,
because no one's got a big score. They're all out for about no one's got anything over 20, have they, for Gloucester Glamorgan, and that's important.
Lloyd got 21, but he's the only one.
Yeah, apart from Lloyd.
So Higgins back in the attack from the Chapel end, bowls to the left-handed Root, who chops it to third man, and Payne will be there to do the fielding. I say Gloucester have got 6 bowlers in the team. They haven't used Tom Smith yet.
Confirmation of a bowling change at the Chapel end.
Higgins,
number
though,
29, Ryan Higgins.
in his second over, conceded 11 from his first. Howell has 2 for 12 off 2 overs. And there's been a run out of his bowling as well.
Yes.
So it's been a productive period for Gloucestershire. 63 for 5.
Ty's coming in now to the circle.
Hammond going squarer at mid-wicket. Hammond wants some different boots as well to field in. Higgins in to bowl to the right-handed Douthwaite, who hasn't played a lot of T20 before. In fact, just his 3rd appearance in the tournament. Used to be at Warwickshire, of course. But had quite a good season in red ball cricket. This is a different animal here, though. 63 for 5 in the 10th. And Higgins back at his mark. Right arm over the wicket, past umpire Warren. It's driven straight down the ground. Will Ty stop that? He won't, but Cobain is off on the boundary at long off, and he'll only get 1. He's quickly to it.
That was a good bit of fielding from Ty. Although he couldn't stop it, he just threw his massive frame on it, and it just propelled to Cobain, who finished off the fielding. Good tandemic fielding.
Root on 2. Left-hander waits for Higgins, who's round the wicket to him, and he tries to go down the ground here, and it's just out of Klinger's reach at mid-off. 2 bounces into the boards at the Chapel end. Klinger right on the edge of the circle. He couldn't reach that, and it was unrealistic to expect him to do so. In fact, no fielder would have done it. And Root with a lusty blow for Glamorgan, up to 68 for 5.
Well, I thought Klinger, is he going to change the field? I mean, they got them both on the edge of the circle, so they are enticing Root to hit over the top.
Higgins again. Root using his feet to try and make it into a full toss, couldn't quite do it, and Klinger does the fielding with it. It's a comfortable single, and Higgins now inquires whether for Dan Douthwaite they're going to push a man back at long off, and Cobain is going right onto the rope. In fact, Ty's going back at long on as well. So they're conscious of
give him the single.
Douthwaite's. Hey, he's burly frame, but also, yes, they would like to give him the single if they can. Higgins into bowl to Douthwaite, who just pushes that actually into the offside. It's comfortably fielded by Jack Taylor in his luminous green shoes. And that's the end of Higgins' over. So 70 for 5 at halfway. Higgins has bowled 2 overs for 19. Benny Howell 2 overs, 2 for 12. David Payne 2 overs, 1 for 5. That was excellent at the start. Matt Taylor 3 overs for 19 and ties 1 over. Cost 8 runs, but it had a wicket in it. So I say Michael Klinger's got some flexibility now in the second half of this innings, and it's going to be Benny Howell to continue.
Well, you normally double the score on a 20-over game after 12 overs, something like that, don't you? But I think with so many wickets down, I think Glamorgan would be happy to get around the 150 mark. As Howell carries in to bowl to Douthwaite, is on 2, and that's going to go past Smith, and Higgins runs into field. They go for a single.
What Gloucestershire won't want now, having got into such a dominant position, is for rain to interrupt the game, such that it causes it to be abandoned at some point further on.
Well,
they'll be absolutely desperate for actually to get a full game in.
And also, if it rains in the second innings, of course, the Duckworth-Lewis could come into play, which is always a problem for this. And that's dabbled down to third man by Root. They're going to get 2. No, it's the ball. The throw comes in, and it's a good throw as well. And Root makes his grounds.
Probably the longest boundary down towards the scoreboard in front of the chapel. It probably is. That's probably one of the few places on the ground where there is 2.
Well, Root is a very, I say, is there is talk of him becoming as good as his brother as Howell bowls around, and that's hit him on the pad. Here's Gibbon. Now, I'll tell you what, that was a good decision from umpire, because Root tried to play the reverse and it hit him just in front of the stumps. I don't see there's anything wrong with that decision.
And do you know what? The person who was appealed most enthusiastically wasn't the bowler, it was James Bracey.
Yeah.
So he would obviously standing up, but he was conscious that with Root playing the reverse sweep and Howell bowling around the wicket, if it was full enough, there was a chance of him getting an LBW. I say Howell was not as enthusiastic, but Bracey definitely was, and it's 73 for 6.
Well, Graham Wagg is blimey, Graham Wagg, he doesn't like Gloucestershire very much. He's a bit temperamental, you could say, and Smith is warming up to have a go, you would think possibly next over. But Benny Howell, another wicket for him. 3 for Benny Howell, isn't it?
3 for Benny Howell, yes.
Well, he loves this competition. He played in Bangladesh in the winter. As Graham Wagg comes in. Now, Graham Wagg is combative, definitely. And he's coming in at number 8 for Glamorgan.
Salter, DeLanger and Hogan to come, and don't think that's the bottom of the Glamorgan order, because a lot of teams bat deep in this competition. DeLanger can certainly power a ball.
Here's Howell bowls to Wagg, and Wagg just dabs it down to Smith, and there's no run. It looks like there's a heavy bank of cloud coming again over the college. It's probably not as dark as the last lot, but we may be forced off again for a short, sharp shower here. Let's hope not.
Gloucestershire, though, absolutely in the box seat.
Absolutely, yes, at the moment. 73 for 6, and that's... Wagg gets off the mark, he plays it wide, David Payne runs around, they come down for 2 easily enough as the throw comes in. 77 for 6 now, I think that is, isn't it? Am I ahead of the scoreboard?
I think you're ahead, it was 73 before.
Oh right, 75 for 6, I beg your pardon. Wagg is on 2 and a helicopter high overhead goes from right to left, probably going to Staverton Airport. As Howell again, he covers the ball with his hands and he bowls. And Wagg just defends doubtly. 75 for 6 is indeed the score at the end of the over. 11 overs gone, 9 remaining.
And Howell has 1 over left. Impossible to think that he will not bowl through. 3 for 17 from 3 overs at the moment. And Tom Smith is going to come into the attack. What a lovely time for a spinner to come on in a T20 game when the opposition are 6 wickets down. And
well, they'll try and take him on, you would think. He bowled very well. He played his first county championship match against Gloucestershire, and he bowled very tidily in both innings. Didn't have many overs, but he did well with the bat, of course. Got his highest score. So Smith comes in to bowl to Douthwaite, who's on 3. And
I'll give you the field in a moment. Here's Smith in, and Douthwaite decides that he can just try and push 1. He wants to try and get 2, but ties in quickly off the boundary at long on, and they'll sent back quite rightly. Wag wasn't interested in a second run there, and Douthwaite just adds the single. 76 for 6 in the 12th. And
well, he can get a 2 if you time it correctly to that long on boundary, but ties what is some 12 feet inside the rope.
Smith, left arm round the wicket, quite a flat spinner, doesn't turn it very much, and that's turned into the onside, but there's quick work from the bowler off his own bowling prevents the run. So you've got a short fine leg, a short third man, a backward point, cover on the boundary, short extra cover,
mid wicket,
long off and long on, both out, and a deep mid wicket as well. That's short from Smith, but they'll only get 1 this time. Both Hammond and Ty coming onto the wall quickly, and an untidy throw from Andrew Ty, bounced about 3 times before it got to Bracey. Encouraged the fielders to throw it in on the bounce once to try and soften the ball. That's perfectly allowed, but when it goes 3 and 4 times, the umpires do give them a stern look sometimes. Here's Smith, left arm round the wicket, bowls to Douthwaite. He just pushes it out on the offside, and Smith once again is quickly to it.
Yeah, it's funny, Smith has to do a lot of his fielding of his own bowling, doesn't he?
He looks much happier bowling with a white ball than a red one, it must be said. 77 for 6 in the 12th, Glamorgan. That's very short. Douthwaite can't pull it into the member stand, which is perhaps where it should have gone. It was a bit of a long hop, but it's just got it on the bottom half of the bat, and he's just got a single to David Payne at short fine leg.
He'll take this over with Smith.
Yeah, the delivery's been a bit mixed from him at the moment. He wants to try and get a little bit more consistency with it. Trots in again, and again that's going to be a single. I suspect that Wag will just take the 1 and just at least pick up some runs in that over if it's not a boundary. 79 for 6 after 12. Bracey's calling for his helmets to be taken off by 12th man Graham Van Buren. He's gone back to the cap, and he's going to stand back now.
Well, I wouldn't.
Andrew Ty.
Would you stand up to Andrew Ty?
No. I don't think so. I think standing back to Andrew Ty is probably a very good move. But anyhow, they're going to keep 1 over back.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
3 for 17 off 3. He's got an over in hand.
Right, Ty is going to come in. It's pretty dark, and he's going to be bowling to Graham Wag, who's on 4. 79 for 6, 8 overs to go in the Glamorgan innings. Ty steams in and bowls now, and that's driven firmly and handsomely, but it's going to be, that's the 1 run actually. That's a good bit of fielding out there. Who's out there? It's
Cobain.
Cobain out there. He's a very good long-on fielder.
Yeah, specialist long off and long on.
Yeah. He ran round, only 1 run. Douthwaite faces 80 for 6.
Well, 2 or 3 reasons for that. 1, he's quick over the ground. 2,
got a good throw.
Good throw. 3, safe under the steeplers, of which you've seen 3 well taken ones already today.
Here's Ty again, bowls. Douthwaite flicks it up in the air. That's a good shot. That's a 1 bounce. It's 4. He looked as about the only place on the leg side where you can play it. It's cow corner. It's an ugly shot, but it's successful in this form of the game. And the crowd are absolutely hemmed in, aren't they? It's a very good crowd here at Cheltenham College. All the people in the hospitality tents, they've finished their free lunch and they're looking at the cricket.
When Smith was bowling, he had somebody in that kind of wide mid-wicket position on the boundary for that pull shot, but for Ty, he's got a more orthodox sort of deep mid-wicket and a long on.
9 to Douthwaite, 84 for 6, and was that a legitimate ball? No, it's a wide. It's always difficult, in this competition to ascertain what is a wide, what is a no ball, and what is a legitimate delivery. I just thought that was a bit high, and rightly called a wide. That's the first extra conceded, which is not a bye or a leg bye.
And actually, Michael Kling, I think, just asking whether that was for height or width, and umpire Nick Cook just saying it was for height.
But it was impossible to hit. As Ty comes in again, bowls, that's better, and he just pulls it down to the short of the two boundaries. Smith fields another single.
I suspect that was not much different in
No.
length. I suspect it was a bit straighter, and that was why he was able to pull it into the onside and get a run for it.
86 for 6. Now, if they get down, I mean, you never want to use every player in a 2020. You don't want to be all out. But as Ty comes in again and bowls, and that's up in the air, and Ty was flung himself at it. It was a sort of a half-hearted chance, and it goes for a single though. 87 for 6. Wag is the scorer.
Interesting, when that ball left the bat, my first thinking was it was going straight to Klinger. The side on from the trajectory was not easy to spot, but Ty just got a deflection on it. It took it, in a sense, away from its path towards Klinger, and it wasn't going to go towards Hammond at mid-off either. So 87 for 6. You see the clouds are building a bit.
They are indeed. Ty bowls. Oh dear, that's surely going to be a no ball. Yes, it is a no ball. It slipped out of his hands, and is it a no ball? No, it's not a no ball. It hasn't signalled it. No. The umpire, he sort of stuck his hand out, but it wasn't a no ball. I just thought that was a bit of a very loose delivery. Slipped out of his hands. 88 for 6. One more ball of Ty's over to go as he bowls now, and that's just a single. Klinger comes in and waits and thinks about throwing, but there's no one backing up, and that was a wise move. 89 for 6 now. 13 overs gone.
Well, Graham Van Buren's being busy here because he's bringing the helmet back out again for James Bracey. So it says that Tom Smith is probably going to continue from the chapel end. 89 for 6. BBC Radio Bristol, DAB, and also via the BBC Sport website. Live commentary here on this opening T20 match for Gloucestershire. Second one for Glamorgan here at Cheltenham College. Around about 4,000 here.
Big crowd.
And Tom Smith, the slow left arm spinner, is to continue. Glamorgan 89 for 6. Bob says 150 would be a decent effort from here. I agree with him. And here is Smith left arm round the wicket. Wag goes straight, and Ian Cobain again at long off does the fielding with only one run. It wasn't really timed, but I think these two will be looking to get to say 15 or 16 overs and then try and press the pedal from there. They've got to get to that point without further loss, really. Douthwaite, right-handed, waits for Smith around the wicket. Again, that's really rather short, but he's played it straight, and Andrew Ty comes in from long on and gets his throw into the non-striker's end. It goes through the stumps. It's well backed up by Benny Howell, and this through was in a sense accurate because it went between the stumps and split them, but Benny Howell was backing up. 12 to Douthwaite and 6 to Wag, who is facing now Tom Smith for about 5 paces. That's a better length, and tries to clip it away to deep mid-wicket, but it doesn't get a touch, and again Smith fields off his own bowling.
I don't think Smith minds going for 5 or 6 and over. That's perfectly acceptable.
He'd love to get another wicket though. Bracey standing up to the right-handed Wag, who plays again another pretty orthodox stroke up towards long off, and Cobain again does the fielding. Long return to the keeper's end, and they pick up one. Julian, how many fours in this inning? How many 4s and 6s in this innings? In fact, I can probably top them off the screen in front of me. 4, 6, only 9 4s and 2 6s. So Gloucester have really kept the boundaries down, even though this is a smallish ground. Smith left arm round the wicket to Douthwaite off the half volley, really. Again, Ty coming in quickly, and Gloucester forcing them to play in the V. Glamorgan here. Long on and long off are busy, but they're only picking up singles.
Yeah, it's working. They've got a plan, they're sticking to it, and Michael Klinger is in discussion with Tom Smith. I mean, Michael Klinger is a very, very proactive captain.
1 ball to go in the over.
So he's now pushed the fielder on that cover boundary. He's now pushed into a deep extra cover position, And now Klinger himself has gone slightly squarer, just on the edge of the circle.
We're going to try and see if Smith can drop this a little bit shorter, but not too short. Yes, he's trying to force that into the gap once more. Wag will only get one. Again, there are two men converging on the ball, Taylor and Cobain. And if it feels as if we're mentioning them a lot, that's because they're covering important areas in the outfield, and Glamorgan only pick up another one. These two are both into double figures. Wag has 10, Douthwaite has 13, but Glamorgan 94 for 6.
6 overs to go.
6 overs to go.
Yeah, it's getting very dark. I think there might be just a bit of rain around, but I tell you what, it is very dark out there at the moment, isn't it? Benny Howell's going to bowl his last over from the College Lawn end. He'll be bowling to Wag, who's on 10, 94 for 6. They've concocted a little bit of a mini partnership, these two. The last week came at 73. They put 21 on. And Howell again covers that ball. No one knows, the batsman hasn't a clue what's going to happen as Howell over the wicket bowls. And that's up in the air, and that's going to be out caught. Yes! Pouched again. Jack Taylor out there. He never drops them. And that was a routine chance. And I just think Wag just didn't get hold of it enough.
Well, Benny Howell, one might argue, in any kind of auction situation, he'd probably be Gloucester's most valuable player.
Certainly, yeah.
4 wickets today in his first match in the T20 in the season.
Well, I'm sure he'll be involved heavily in this dreaded 100-ball competition next season, because he's just a very, very adept cricketer, all-round cricketer in this format.
Yeah, particularly though as a bowler.
Yeah, particularly as a bowler, as you rightly say.
I saw that there was, in fact, we went to Uxbridge last season, and Howell was doing an interview with one of the top cricket writers in the country, and he said he's got something like 50 variations of delivery in this format.
Well, let's see what he's going to do now then, as he bowls to Douthwaite. They crossed, and Douthwaite, Howell is convinced he's got him. The umpire says not a chance. It's raining again, I have to tell you. It's not, it's just a bit of a drizzle. The umbrellas are up. It's very dark, actually. That's the worst thing about the conditions here, I would say. 94 for 7. It's like sort of 4 o'clock on a December afternoon, I would say, as Howell comes in again to bowl to Douthwaite, who's on 11. And that's going to be out again. Oh, he's caught him again! What a brilliant catch by Jack Taylor. That is the catch of the match. He had to run about 10 yards to his left-hand side, then flung himself, and would you believe it, he came up with the ball very home into his hands.
Well, Gloucestershire do literally hundreds and hundreds of drills throughout the season on catching practice, and today they have clung on to everything.
Every single one, yeah.
Of various types. They've had
highs,
four steepers in the air, but that really was an athletic piece of fielding. Running at a brisk pace to his left, which is not his better hand, and diving full length to take it two-handed in mid-air.
Benny Howell's got 5 wickets, and Michael Klinger's now asking the umpire. I mean, actually the rain has stopped, believe it or not. It's still very, very dark. 5 wickets in how many overs has he bowled? 3.5 overs. He's got 5 wickets.
And there's been a run out from his end in his spell.
I think he could be a 9th man of the match. Well, the danger is now that Gloucestershire are in danger of being all out. They've only got 5.5 overs left to bat, and De Lange, he can half hit a ball, but it's Salter facing, both batsmen on 0. As Salter faces, that was a good bit of keeping by Bracey, but Salter's feet were firmly entrenched behind the crease.
If this was a club game, you would not be getting the ball out of Benny Howell's hand anytime soon.
Have a break, Benny. No.
I'm having far too much fun, thanks.
Well, let's see if he can get 6 as he comes into bowl to Salter, and Salter guides that down to 3rd man for an easy peasy single. David Payne does the fielding, throws it in hard. Bracey, competent wicket keeper. I wouldn't be surprised if they win this one, if they kept this side for next week as well.
Right, this is the last ball of the 15th
over. It's
over.
now raining.
The brollies are going up, and it is now raining again.
Yeah.
they might have a chat, the umpires, after this ball.
Howell bowls again, and that's short. He's caught him, has he? No, he hasn't caught him, and now the umpires are having a conversation, and I think
Benny Howell
they're going to come off.
Of 4 overs, 5 wickets for 18 runs.
And you heard Rob Scuttle over the PA, 4 overs, no maidens, 5 for 18 for Benny Howell, and we are going to continue, which is obviously good from Gloucestershire's point of view, 95 for 8. I mean, in any Duckworth-Lewis calculation that we may have here, the fact that Glamorgan
lost
wickets early will significantly impact on their score.
Well, Nick Cook's now looking away from the action, and I just think he might as well carry on. Oh, well done, Nick Cook. Well done, Nick Cook.
It is dark now because that electronic board is very bright on the far side of the ground.
Well, Buller.
And Ty
in fact, the lighter clouds are coming along.
Ty
dark.
To bowl to the right-handed Salter, who goes back and does very well to see it apart from anything else, and he plays the ball back up the pitch, and Ty fields off his own bowling. It is a very unusual T20 card.
It's just, we've had brilliant weather the last 4 days. Superb.
And we've seen in a sense a very un-T20 like match here this afternoon, but there's still been some very good out cricket from Gloucestershire. Ty again bowls to Salter, who again plays the same shot and pushes it back up the pitch, and Ty makes sure that he's hurrying through his over. This is the 16th. Glamorgan are 95 for 8.
If I was capable of feeling sorry for a Welshman, I think I probably would be, but actually I'm not at all, because they chose to bat first. Master Klinger put them in. Ha ha ha.
Salter has 1. DeLange has no score. Salter just a little glance off his legs into the onside, and actually it came off the pad, not the bat, which certainly sounded like a bat to me, but not given as such. Russell Warren just waiting for the scorers to acknowledge his signal.
Can't see them.
They can't. Yeah, that was going to be my line. 96 for 8, Glamorgan. It is now raining a little more heavily.
It is raining hard.
It's raining very hard now. Surely they're going to come off.
Yeah,
we're
they're coming off
15
now.
overs and 3 balls, and this is going to be a little bit of a deluge, I think. The ground staff have got to be swift in this situation, because the rain will come down quickly here at Cheltenham. And apologies if you just temporarily lost us there at Cheltenham. The covers are coming on. The ground staff just making sure that the pitch is the first thing to be covered. But we've had a second rain interruption, and it might be about as long as the first one, judging by the clouds that are around. But goodness me, Gloucestershire are in the box seat in this game. 96 for 8, Glamorgan, in the 16th of their 20 overs. Bob, would you actually just take those listening online and on BBC Radio Bristol DAB
I'll take them through the scorecard.
Through the card, why not do that?
Well, David Lloyd was caught. Payne bowled Howell for 21. That followed the dismissal of Lawler. Caught Ty. A real steeper, that one, bowled Payne without getting off the mark. Then Colin Ingram came. He threatened a little bit, got on to 17 before he was caught by a real steepler by Tom Smith, again off the bowling of Ty. Root was LBW to Howell, and then before that Morgan was run out without facing a ball. A brilliant bit of fielding by Gloucestershire's captain Michael Klinger. Cook was bowled Howell for 10. Douthwaite was caught Jack Taylor, a brilliant catch off the bowling of Howell for 13, and Howell mopped up Wag, caught Taylor again, bowled Howell for 10. Salter is not out 1. DeLange has yet to face a ball. He's on 0. The bowling figures for Gloucestershire at the moment, remember there's 5 overs to go. David Payne 2 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 5. Super bowling from him. Taylor likewise 3 overs, no maidens, none for 10. Higgins did well, 2 overs, none for 19. He got tonked a bit in his first over. Ty halfway through his third over, 2.3, 1 for 18, no maidens. Howell, 4 overs, none maidens, none for 8, 5 for 18. And Tom Smith tidying things up nicely, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 9. So Benny Howell, 5 wickets. That's pretty rare in a T20.
I'm sure that is Howell's career best in T20. In fact, I'll look that up in a second. But Gloucestershire's out cricket today has been very sharp.
Brilliant.
From the point where Ty took the first catch, a well-judged one at long on. They have clung on to everything. Klinger's effected a run out, and a couple of the catches have been absolutely top draw. Particularly the one at full tilt by Jack Taylor.
Yeah, Jack Taylor, superb fielder. And you're absolutely right, Ian. Before this game, Richard Dawson, the coaching staff, are hoisting high balls in the air. I think we might be okay. Actually, we should go back to Bristol. I think. Should we? I think
the stoppage here with extra covers coming
about
on.
10 minutes, probably 15 minutes.
Looks like it might be of a similar sort of length to the one that we had a little earlier in the afternoon. So hopefully we won't have too much of an impact in terms of the duration of the game. Remember, they've already used some of the allotted extra hour.
Yeah.
But Gloucestershire will be absolutely desperate to
finish this game,
finish this game because there's so much on top. 96 for 8 Glamorgan in the 16th over, but the brollies are up and the covers are on,
and we should go back,
and there could be a reasonable delay here at Cheltenham. So for listeners on BBC Radio Bristol DAB, we'll hand you back to Jonathan Ray, and if you're listening online, then we'll have news of any further resumption as soon as we have it here at Cheltenham.
Cheers, pal. Yeah, will do.
Okay.
Cheers. Wally?
Yeah, it is. It's the best scorer.
Where's the 34?
Thunder, lightning, plagues of locusts and
Well,
frogs.
the umpire said, didn't he, at the title, if it's thunder and lightning, they can't come off, yeah. If it's thunder, you've got to come off, new rule.
Well, they've got to give it information.
Were you aware of what happened with your plague of locusts tweet, by the way?
No, I know, I just spelled it wrong.
It said plaque.
I know.
And James Young said, is that to tell us where the plague is?
No, 12 years, calculating locations.
They'll be absolutely livid if they can't finish this.
I've got a...
Well, it's very deep.
I made the very stupid
filling in
mistake
over
of turning
there.
down the BBC job about 3 years
So we have to have 5 overs then, don't we?
Well, have we had more than an hour break?
So,
No.
We will get to that. Yeah, you have to have 5 overs for a result.
So Glamorgan have batted enough.
Oh yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
But the impact of them having losing wickets early is significant. The impact on the score.
I mean, obviously, they have to set minimum 6 target.
5 overs you can have, can't you?
Five.
Yeah, the trouble is it'll be 5 to get something like 60, 50, 60.
Why would it be that many?
I don't know.
Why would it be that many?
It won't be that many.
No, because they lost.
No, they lost 70 wickets early on, yeah.
So they're barely at a run a ball at the moment.
But this rain is bad.
That's deluge, isn't it?
In fact, this rain is now very bad.
It was raining like this when I got to Cheltenham. But only for a few minutes.
On an outfit, on an outground.
This could be curtains, you could have got away with this, you know.
And the problem may not be the actual wicket, it could be this kind of stuff. Yeah. Could be the problem.
Good news for the bars. I can't see a break.
Is it 5 or so? 5 overs, maybe?
5 overs, yeah.
So probably about 5.55 if it's a 6.15 cut-off.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see. I mean, this is an outground. I think they'll probably get away with it, you bastard.
All we're saying is give us a point.
They've covered the pitch pretty quickly, but it's the outfield. This is the only day it's going to rain. It's going to be nice tomorrow again.
Well, no, I think tomorrow not necessarily wonderful, but
we tested out the.
Well, Sunday's good.
I think tomorrow's not great, but I guess from Sunday it's alright.
Sunday's nice onwards, and Tuesday's supposed to be really nice. Is it? So it's not just maybe competent.
Right, Chris Cole, you rang me earlier.
Chris Coley.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be off because Glamorgan are deep in the mire. Because it's actually curling it down at the moment. They've been on and off a couple of times and Glamorgan have done very badly between the showers. Okay, cheers Mike. Ta-ra.
So I couldn't answer the phone.
Believe it. So it's difficult for me to take someone going to be tested, but there's no point of it. Yeah, 15.3.
Oh, I see.
Thanks to Benny from Bordeaux. The only French-born cricketer.
Yeah, I know. He's bowls very well in this.
I don't know. Continental Wales. He can be banned when we've Brexited.
Okay, cheers.
I feel sorry for some of your lads because Lloyd went off and it was pitch dark.
Yeah.
Still, Buddha.
I mean, they ought to be. They've played quite a few times here over the last few years, so most of them ought to be used to batting on this surface. But the amount of balls that are hit straight up in the air, they obviously.
They never got hold of them, did they? That was it.
No.
You're going to get away with this, you know?
I don't know what you're talking about. Marshall was still at the crease. You can do some damage. But I think we'll take a point.
A burglar point.
It is a burglar.
No,
yeah, it wasn't our finest performance.
Well, you just kind of hit the ball up in the air. It's a great catch from Taylor.
It's already the catch of the season.
Yeah, it's a good catch. Really
Competition
good
based
catch.
on today. Yeah.
Even the first three catches could have been tricky, and they took them comfortably.
Well, that's what they practice day in, day out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, look, it's getting lighter.
Wrong way though, isn't it?
No, it's coming from there. It comes from behind, really.
Have you seen those practice pitches though?
What, over there?
Yeah.
They're wet.
Yeah, they're muddy.
Bastards. Bordeaux Benny.
Do you? So Hunter, you're doing. We're doing the reverse fixture.
Yeah.
So do you want us to? Do you want us to send you a note about having a car park next to the bowls?
Yeah, let me know how many spaces you want on the range.
4. My limousine.
4.
You're not driving down together?
Yeah. So
Oh.
I'll meet him somewhere.
Oh, so it's just one car park. Oh, I think you wanted 4 cars.
Bob's butler will be driving him.
Yeah, that's no problem. I'll make note of them. Yeah.
And also, I still.
Are you in the 4?
No, yeah, I have. I should be doing on my own. He'll be in his. No, sorry. So we'll come in one car.
Yeah.
And Kieran will come separately.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll put a note for we'll put 2 parking spots and 4 people for Gloucestershire for food.
The other thing is I haven't got my one of these through yet.
Remind me, send me an email.
Okay.
And I will put a immediate pass near gate 2 for you for collection. So that'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, I'll send you an email.
It's a couple of weeks. Is it 2 Thursdays time? Is it?
It's
not. Next Thursday.
2 weeks yesterday.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah. That's on Sky, isn't it?
Oh, is it? So I send you an email for 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's August the 1st.
Yeah. On the Monday that week.
I'm working the day before in Hampstead.
No, perfect. Thank you.
That's the.
In an under 19.
Lizzie thingy we do.
Izzy Duncan. Very posh, Izzy Duncan.
few.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I was going to mention that during the
What?
Leicester game. They don't have the third voice anymore.
No, we haven't a third voice ever here. They cut them back. Division 1 you get third voices.
So it'd be Dan Johnson. Do you think he's Brothers? Presumably you'll be Brothers, right? Because it's away.
Brothers is here, yeah, Brothers and me. I mean, Brothers is alright, we can get on.
Brothers,
I had to go and meet the reception in about 20
But I mean, and Richard Ray's a nice bloke, but he's so serious. We clash. We clash. He's a bit like me and Randall, really. He takes things a bit seriously.
Yeah, he's a professional. He does it professionally.
I'm professional. What have I done wrong? You burst out laughing yesterday for half an hour. I couldn't understand why.
That was the W.G. Grace bit. We got on to talk about W.G. Grace, and I said he did play for London County team. He said, I remember, as if he was there.
Oh, it's brightening up now. It'll be fine.
Stop at the Glamorgan parking. Stop at the Glamorgan parking sorted. Yeah, careful.
I had no idea about that.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Get there in a minute. Radio Bristol, hello. Randall at Cheltenham with a voice piece, obviously, of the match having been abandoned. 1 point each. Rock rolling, just see it, rock rolling. Marvellous. Okay then, so Radio Bristol first. Here we go. I might just put the... A dominant performance in the field by Gloucestershire was worth only 1 point at Cheltenham College as a deluge at 4:15 saw Glamorgan escape with a point after being put into bat. Diving effort... it should be a diving effort. 2-1. A dominant performance in the field by Gloucestershire was worth only 1 point at Cheltenham College as a deluge at 4:15 saw Glamorgan escape with a point after being put into bat. A diving effort by Jack Taylor and a superb run out by Michael Klinger topped some excellent out cricket, and Benny Howell grabbed the headlines with the ball, taking 5 for 18, career best figures, as Glamorgan struggled to cope with Gloucestershire's variations in pace. Can't read the bottom line. What does that say? Yeah, that's right. Heavy rain, that says.